I mean, this is medication. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely, dude.
This is actually a luxury, dude.
This is a really good beer.
I love this beer, dude. It's actually great.
What did you say it was called?
It's Three Floyds Gumball Head.
Gumball Head.
I don't drink a lot of beer anymore, but man, this is my jam. Especially when it's nice out. Oh shit.
Super fucking good. It just makes you want to sit out. I mean, I don't know how you don't just.
After this, I'm gonna be lazy, dude. You're ruining my day right now. I appreciate that.
Ruining my own day.
I appreciate that, brother.
Cheers to that.
Yeah, man.
All right, so I guess let's crack this thing open. What's up, everybody? Sam Heine here, back at you with another episode of Street Talk, episode number 2 to be exact, so we're officially on a roll. This week I had a chance to sit down with Adam Burress, who is the owner-operator of 4 different creatively inspired restaurants around town, and we set up shop on the patio of Ostra, which is his newest project in the Clifton neighborhood off of Frankfort Avenue. He also owns and operates Hammerheads, which is in Germantown, but right on the line of Parristown Point, right on the line of Smoketown. So just a total trio of up-and-coming neighborhoods right there, which is just a really cool story to me. And then he also owns and operates Migo, which is off of Barstown Road in the Highlands, and he also owns and operates Game, which is in Irish Hill, right off of Lexington Road. So, you know, it's not like 4 Applebee's around town with the same concept, and they're just going around to different neighborhoods. 4 totally different concepts for foods. He's taken a cuisine and breathing a new life into it, and just 4 totally different ways that he's doing that via these 4 restaurants. But what I thought was really interesting and relevant to Street Talk was the way he has opened up in 4 totally different neighborhoods. You know, some more established than others, some more up and coming than others, but a totally different feel to each restaurant, and a totally different feel to each neighborhood that he's setting up in. So I just kind of wanted to get the insider's perspective on what's going on in those neighborhoods, and also what he's feeling, and the different feels of the neighborhoods, because in a big way, you know, a restaurant feeds the residents of a neighborhood, but also the residents feed the restaurant. You know, 100%. It's a total dichotomy, and it's an ebb and a flow. And, you know, I'm sure that the roots are planting down via these restaurants into the neighborhood and kind of spreading the good around there. But also the neighborhood totally infuses into the restaurant. So I wanted to get his perspective on, you know, what he's seen, you know, what's going on, you know, and how the inspiration behind these different concepts for restaurants plays into the inspiration for setting up in these different parts of town. So without further ado, Adam Burress, everyone, super cool dude, super cool conversation. Once again, you know, if you have any questions or inquiries about anything you see in the video, or any of the neighborhoods or our streets that we cover in this video, feel free to reach out to me. My number is 502-500-6469, or email me at sam@familyrealty.com. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have or help in any way. So without further ado, enjoy the video. What's going on, everybody? Sam Heine, another episode of Street Talk here. I'm here with you in Clifton talking to Adam Burress, owner-operator of 4 really creatively inspired restaurants around town, and I thought it would be sort of a cool episode to do, because it's not one neighborhood in particular that he's touching with his game. It's 4 different boroughs, totally different concepts, doing food in a totally different way than I've seen it done around town.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, and I guess let's rattle them off real quick since we're on the topic. So we're sitting outside of Ostra,
Yep.
which is in the Clifton area, right off of Frankfort Avenue. The newest of the 4, Pacific fusion, oyster kind of inspired dishes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I was telling him, I personally, and I think he'd probably agree, you can't really stamp a genre of food on what he does, because he takes a cuisine and kind of breathes a new creativity into it and makes it his own.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't like to label ourselves. You know, labels are just kind of like this walls that you put up. Now all of a sudden you have to be within those walls. You know, so we just, I don't know. Some people are like, oh, you do like seafood? No, we're not a seafood joint. We just so happen to be doing a lot of seafood.
Right.
You know, and it's like, really with this was just fusion, and we're trying to do like sustainability, and that just so happens to be a lot of seafood.
That's huge,
you know?
yeah. And you don't see it enough, honestly, around town.
It's important.
So we've got Ostra. You know, second one, Migo. Off of Barstown Road in the Highlands, Taco Fusion.
Taco Fusion. Fusion's
really
my favorite
cocktail,
word.
Yeah. Yeah, Fusion's going to be the word of the video, I think.
Yes, sir.
And then we've got Hammerheads, which sits. It's an interesting kind of location because it's technically in Germantown, but it's right on the line of Smoketown. It's right on the line of Parristown Point, which both are huge transformations in themselves.
Yeah.
And just I guess a pub kind of grub, but done in a really niche way. Good burgers, duck fat fries, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then we've got Game in Irish Hill. Really just interesting cuts of meat. I think I haven't had the kangaroo myself, but I've heard that you serve kangaroo there.
Yeah, kangaroo, wild boar, elk, venison, basically just a lot of like wild proteins.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
That's a wild thing.
Yeah, man.
I thought it'd be cool to get in front of him and kind of get his perspective on, because to me it seems like the cuisines that you're cooking up and breathing a new life into, it's a very creative sort of process, and it's not like 4 El Nepals that are opening up in different boroughs of town. It's 4 totally new concepts, and they're in 4 totally new neighborhoods. So I guess the first question is, how does, I know you have a process probably about coming up with a fusion of cuisine that you want to make your next project, but how does the neighborhood come into play? Do you have a vision for where you want to set up shop, or is it more natural, just sort of by chance?
Well, it's more by chance. It's more about the actual, obviously I try to stay within, location is important, but a specific location's not so much. It's more or less the building kind of has to speak to me a little bit. It's got to be available,
Yeah.
And then I really just kind of like to mold. If I can fit in somewhere, then I usually just try to allow it to kind of blossom organically within the location that it has been seeded.
Yeah.
It's like I'm here, okay, like for example, it's like with Ostra, we had no idea what it was really gonna do. We created what we thought it should do, and then the neighborhood kind of molds it.
Right.
And the environment kind of tells you what it's gonna be. Before you know it, dude, it's just like nothing but like beautiful women. This is like a chick spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's probably 90% just women. And it's like, I didn't mean for that to happen, but it just happened.
Organic.
And that's cool. I don't care one way or the other, but that's like, you gotta let it be what it wants to be.
Right.
You just do what you do, and then, you can't fight it. That's why we don't like to label ourselves.
Kind of go with the flow.
Right.
I think it's cool that you happen to, by chance, oftentimes I'm sure you had a place in mind, but by chance for the most part it sounds like you kind of let the pieces fall where they may in terms of where you're setting up shop. And
yeah, because there's so much about it that you can't control.
Right.
So you got to you just control the things you can, and then you got to surrender to the things you can't.
Right.
And you'll have fun doing this.
Yeah.
Because it's very stressful. And if you keep trying to be an image or be a certain idea, if you concrete yourself in a certain ideology of what this is supposed to be, then it's going to be a little rougher.
Yeah.
In my opinion, some people are just like, dude, that's my anchor, that's what we're going for, and that's a nice solid target.
Yeah.
But for me personally, man, I like to just let it be the way it's going to be.
It's a good motto. Honestly, that's the way it ought to be. It's
yeah.
Adds to the kind of artistic way that your restaurants are opening up.
Well, it's like you mentioned El Nopal, and how it's like you've got the one hand of the restaurant industry. That's basically, it's not, there's no wrong or right way to really do it. It's just you've got these people that they get into it for, I guess, a financial gains.
Right.
We all got to do something, right? We all got to make it.
Yeah.
And it's like with us, and actually a lot of other very talented chefs here in Louisville, we're driven by, I don't know, I guess just this artistic value that we have with our food,
Totally, man. No, and for the record, I'm not
I'm not taking shots at On the Paul.
Oh, not at all, dude.
Good for them. There's a niche in the market for that sort of setup, and that's a beautiful thing. But I just think it's interesting the way you set up in different neighborhoods, and in particular, Clifton, Irish Hill, Germantown, and I'm going to mention Smoketown and Parristown Point because they are such up and coming neighborhoods, just on the fringe. You're just right on the fringe there, but they all kind of remind me of each other because they all have a similar come up story. Whereas Clifton, 20 years ago, it was not so nice to sit outside and enjoy a beer on a sunny day. It was sort of a rough part of town, but just the way it developed, and I'm sure the energy coming off the restaurant is sort of feeding the residents around this area, and I'm sure the residents around this area are feeding the restaurant. So of course,
it's nice to watch. I used to want to try to get out of here because I was born in Oldham County, but as soon as I graduated, I moved to the Highlands, and I'm like, man, I'm not going to live in Kentucky my whole life, and I still probably won't. I hope I don't, but it's a big world. I want to try some other places. But anyways, I fell in love with this city because you start to see what it's trying to be, and it's growing so quickly, and just the demand for integrity and the demand for just a quality experience is so obvious around here. In the past 5, 6, 10 years, I've watched this whole industry go crazy, and not even just you've got the food industry, which also lifts all these other industries because it brings other people here because everybody travels. What do you do when you travel? You eat,
Right.
And then if you got a good enough place to eat, you got this little mecca,
right.
You start setting up shop in all kinds of different avenues and different walks of life.
Oh, absolutely.
Louisville's great, man.
It's interesting the way,
and it's a blank canvas.
Totally.
It's like it's doing what I was talking about earlier. It's allowing us to basically organically work together and mold this thing. This is a heavy bar, and we need a bunch of people to lift it.
Yeah.
We have one chef and one business owner or one whatever can't lift it by himself.
People come for the experience, and it's sort of the more that you can kind of play around with that canvas and make it your own, the more people are going to buzz about it because they're looking for a bigger experience in a part of town they haven't been around to, and it's going to bring different people from other parts of town to this part of town, and Germantown and Highlands, Irish Hill, that whole thing.
As long as you got good stuff, man, you'll have good people.
Yeah, brings the best people out of the woodwork.
Yep.
So I guess a question in closing is, do you have any ideas for what's next? What part of town's next? What kind of concept is next? I know this one's still kind of new.
Yeah, this one, so this was a humbling one, man. So apparently 4 is about the limit,
Yeah.
So 4 was a heavy brick. I've got the capacity and the strength and the time and, the desire. But man, I've got a 2-year-old, I've got another one on the way, I've got a beautiful woman. And it's like, I don't know, man. After a while, you just get tired of cooking, dude. You get tired of doing all this stuff because they're so demanding. You can't really just set them and forget them.
Because you're keeping the quality,
exactly,
the integrity alive.
And also, this place, it's different from the other ones. It's it takes a different approach to actually make it comfortable.
Yeah.
So this one was pretty, I pulled some hairs out.
Hell yeah. Grade some hairs, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. No, I mean, it looks great. It's a good setup. One of my favorite parts of town. I mean, you've got Silver Dollar in the backdrop, Hilltop Tavern, to our left.
I love it right here. All these guys are amazing.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on. We're gonna sit here and enjoy this Three Floyds. What would you call it? A bubble gum?
Gumball head.
Gumball head.
I'm gonna get a refill for sure.
Yeah, that's first timer, so I'm impressed. But yeah, we'll see you next week, folks. Check out Ostra, check out Hammerheads, check out Migo, check out Game. It's got a lot of flavor going on around town, and we'll see you next week.